Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the Jon Gaunt podcast. I know I did one earlier. You can still look at that one if you wish. We'll talk about it in a moment. But tonight, we're talking about Starmer humiliated by Donald Trump on illegals, farmers, tax, and indeed Sadiq Khan. Did you watch it live today? It was an incredible thing that I witnessed. It was just absolutely appalling. Basically, Trump schooled him. Trump invited him up to one of his golf courses to discuss a few things. Starmer went up there like a little schoolboy. He did take his wife, which is a bit of a difference, but he went up there and then basically, ever so politely, which is so brilliant, Trump humiliated him. He said, if you want to win an election, you got to be good on tax. You've got to look after the farmers. You've got to be tough on illegal immigration, etc., etc. And Starmer, the only thing he could do, as per usual, was lie. He completely lied. On the steps of the meeting, he said, oh, yeah, we're getting tough on immigration. We've sent 30,000 people back already. Absolute bullshit. He has sent them back, but as you know, they aren't necessarily the people who are coming in the small boats. And at this point, I've got to say a big well done to Bev Turner from GB News. She was asking him some of the questions, and it was incredible. She put him right on the spot. Britain, not just England, but Britain got humiliated on the day when we should all be celebrating being English, if we are English, and be dead proud. We beat the Spaniards. The girls did wonders. I know I've slagged it off a bit before, but it was great entertainment, wasn't it? So on a day when we should have just been celebrating, this idiot once again let us down. I'm going to go through it with you, but I want your reaction. It was a brutal 20-minute masterclass in diplomacy by Donald Trump. He totally humiliated Keir Starmer live on the world stage. You know when he does these press conferences where he just invites people in? Well, it was inside his golf club today. And he exposed Starmer for everything that you and I have been saying about him on illegal immigration, the farmers' revolt, about rising taxes, and about the chaos under Sadiq Khan. He called Sadiq Khan a very, very bad man. And then the idiot Starmer went, well, actually, he's a friend of mine, like a wimp, like a total wimp. Trump just looked at him and said, he's a very, very bad man, and said it again. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And just proved why Starmer cannot last. This was the longest political suicide note in history. By going to that press conference today, he's ended his career, hopefully. Hopefully this is the end. And he went to Trump. Now, if that was in America, I could understand it. But he went there with his tail between his legs. Trump outlined how securing the border won in the White House. He said, yeah, well, I think it was because I stopped the illegal immigration. Now we've got none, which isn't quite true, but he's hardly got any. You could see Starmer stumbling, panicking. He started fiddling with his shirt sleeves. And then he relied on half-truths, if you're being nice, or blatant, utter lies and bullshit. It was nothing short of political self-destruction. And, of course, a gift to Nigel Farage, who must have been laughing his duck off, and indeed to reform. All of this happening the day after the Lionesses gave Britain a reason, or England in particular, to feel proud. Our Prime Minister was left red-faced and exposed. Now he's gone on a plane to the other golf course that he's got up in Aberdeen. But I think this is the final nail, I'm hoping, in Labour's coffin. Did you watch it? What did you make of it? I just thought it was embarrassing for him, but mostly embarrassing for us. If you want to comment, please do. And if you're watching on Facebook, please tell me you can see it. I had a slight technical problem just before I started. I think the computer's got a bit hot. So if you're a Facebook person, just write in on Facebook and say, hi, John. Then I'll know you're there. Same on Twitter. Pip Tomlinson is on YouTube, and he was there much earlier. He said the power dynamic was almost reversed, as if Trump was the prime minister hosting Starmer. You're right, Pip. Trump was openly laughing at him and trolling him. I think you're right. I think you're bang on the money. It was a total and utter humiliation. And it was like the day that, when you're a kid and your mum says, you keep loud. Craig Urquhart, thank you, mate. He's telling me that Facebook is working. Cheers, mate. It's unbelievable that his lies, your mum would say, you lie, and then you have to keep on lying, and then your lies will find you out in the end. Well, it happened today on the world stage. Our prime minister, humiliated by Donald Trump, didn't raise his voice once, didn't have a go at him, kept saying he was his friend, but he just destroyed him. After getting Ursula von Leyen, as I call her, from yesterday at the EU, he's put her right where he wants her, giving them 15% tariffs, and they're grateful. Thank God we got out of the EU. When people say to you, well, what did we get? Well, we got a better deal with Trump, which we would never have got if we'd stayed in the lousy EU. But today, we were humiliated. We've got a liar as a prime minister. Am I going over the top, or do you agree with me? Because Trump basically illustrated how securing the border and stopping illegal immigration almost totally won in the White House. He made that promise and he delivered it within the first few weeks. I know he made other promises, but also he's done quite well on them, hasn't he? Israel. He's done quite well on Iran, bombed them into oblivion. He's still got some other problems, I agree, and I don't think he's the most wonderful man in the world. But what he has got, which our Prime Minister hasn't got, is strength. Strength of purpose, conviction. And the most important thing, he's authentic. Those footballers last night, they're authentic. They were overjoyed to win. Absolutely overjoyed. And what I liked about the women's football last night was the fact there's no airs and graces. And they were complimentary and sporting at the end as well. And what a week. We had the Italians crying on Wednesday when the women beat them. Tuesday, whatever day it was. Then the British Lions got the Aussies crying. Fantastic. And last night it was the Spanish. We only need now to play the French at something and get them crying into their surrender hankies, which are always white, of course, and my life will be complete. But basically, Trump came over to tell Starmer, what the effing hell are you doing? Why are your borders like a sieve? Get it sorted. But he didn't say it like that. He talked about how he had done it. And then he has that lovely act of just looking and doing that weird grin that he does, as if he doesn't know what he's doing. He's like Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan famously said, I like them to think I'm a bit thick and I'm just an ex-Hollywood actor, because whilst they're thinking that, I'm planning my next move. Don't know whether it was totally true with Ronnie Reagan, but then again, we didn't have a nuclear war, did we? And do you remember when everybody thought we were going to go up in oblivion? There was that Gone with the Wind poster, mock-up of a film poster with him and Maggie, with Maggie's voice, a speech bubble saying, he told me he'd love me to the end of the world, and then told me when it would be. It was that was the joke amongst the lefties. But it was a masterclass today. But it was also humiliating for us as a nation, because Starmer squirmed, he lied, he stumbled when he was challenged on illegal immigration. Farmers' tax. Again, Trump did this fantastic thing. He said, I think it was Bev Turner asked him the question, and he said, you've got trouble with farms as well? He said, yes, so have we. He said, so many farms, they had to borrow money to keep going, and then the banks have taken them over, and we've lost our farms. He said, I like the farmers. And so I spoke to them about it, because they'd taken out more and more loans, etc. And he talked about one particular farmer who'd ended up committing suicide. It was authentic. It was absolutely authentic. And he was telling this story. And Starmer didn't know what to say, because Starmer knows He's lied to the farmers. He's betrayed them in the manifesto. He's absolutely betrayed them, just like he's betrayed the older people in this country when it comes to the winter fuel allowance, just like he was trying to metaphorically kick people with disabilities out of their wheelchair. This man has no morals. He has no moral code and no backbone. And today he was exposed on the world stage. And then, of course, Trump's got this wonderful thing of saying, you know, your leader, he's a little bit more liberal than me. And then he laughs, you may have heard. And then he says, but I like him. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. It's flattery will get you everywhere. Trump is the master of getting the deal. So then he talked about the farmers' anger, but he talked about it as if he didn't know the farmers were up in revolt. He did the same with illegal immigration. Oh, it's good that you're securing your borders. Because on the steps before he went in, when he was there with his wife, Starmer said, oh, yeah, he butted in on Bev Turner's question, talked over her deliberately, and basically said, yeah, we've sent 30,000 back. So instead of challenging him, this was the beauty, Trump goes, oh, good, I'm glad to hear you're getting on top of it. He knows full well that there's been riots. Of course he does. He'd probably been on the phone to Farage or watching GB News last night. At one point, he actually said to that Bev Turner, and what outlet are you from? So she said, I'm Bev Turner from GB News. So he even gave them a plug. It was masterly. Then he talked about crime in London and Sadiq Khan, and he said he's a very bad person. And then the only time Starmer kind of challenged him was then. He said, well, actually, he's a friend of mine. It was like, Trump looked at him and just said, do you think I'd give a fuck? You know what I mean? It was unbelievable. It was excruciating and hilarious in equal measure. If you haven't watched it, you need to watch it tonight. I say it was the longest political suicide note in British history. And it makes you question whether he can survive now, with everything else going against him. I mean, he's been helped by the mainstream media. There were not riots, but there were violent demonstrations all over Britain last night. Have you heard about it on the BBC or Sky? No, of course you haven't. Because they've been told, calm it down. They've been told, calm it down. It's bread and circuses time. Starmer must have been so relieved when the women won last night, because he probably thinks that will give him a respite, a bounce back. No, it won't. It won't give you F all, mate, because you don't deserve anything. You are single-handedly wrecking our great country, and it's absolutely disgraceful. But I don't know about anybody else, but I've seen through it completely now. I've seen through it completely. And I want this man removed, whether it's the way he's dealt with the Muslim rape gangs, whether it's to do with the latest nonsense with the migrant hotels. He is playing Russian roulette. And I know the Conservatives were as well, but they're not in power. The people in power at the moment is Starmer. And Starmer's got to be removed. And we've got to get a leader and a party that's actually going to listen to us. Now, earlier today, I did a brilliant, it's not me, it's a brilliant interview with Howard Cox from the Fair Fuel lobby group. He stood to be mayor of London. He admitted himself he got hammered by Khan. But then he stood to be an MP in Dover, and he nearly won. Wasn't far off at all. Then he fell out with Nigel Farage from Reform UK. If you listen to that podcast, you'll find out all the juicy gossip. He doesn't mess about. He also talks about Tommy Robinson. They fell out with Farage because he supports Tommy Robinson. He went to see Tommy Robinson in prison. And he believes that, not the Brexit Party, what they're called this week, the Reform Party should take him on. It's got some very interesting things to say about Ben Habib as well, and also Rupert Lowe. It's worth a listen. It's got massive downloads already, right? Have a listen to that once you finish watching or listening to this. But the whole point was, he says, get the Navy in the channel, just like me. But then he went further. He said, let them starve. He says, get them out of the hotels, not into houses of multiple occupation, onto army camps, razor wire all around the compound. Bit like my top policeman, Kevin Hurley, said on the other one. These set-piece interviews I'm doing are really fascinating because you can really get into what people think. So he was radical. You must watch it. But that's what we need. We are in a crisis situation. Whilst Starmer's off playing the big statesman again today, hundreds are still getting in across the channel. Hundreds. I don't know if you saw some of the coverage on the internet at the moment. There's a bloke in Manchester, he gets a boulder and starts throwing it at people. And people are getting pissed off. People are getting angry. And can you blame them? No, you cannot. So if you've got an opinion, I want to hear from you. Pip Tomlinson has just donated €5. Thank you, Pip. He says, it was nice hearing one of the England women footballers saying, I'm proud to be English. Yeah, that was that Chloe, wasn't it? After the game. I bet it made Starmer cringe. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. I was going to do my whole podcast tonight about, do you feel proud? Because that made me cry. I'm not going to deny it. I had tears in my eye when she said that. Because we, the English, have been told we're not allowed to be proud, especially by buffoons like him and Blair. We've had our noses rubbed in diversity. However, you can be English and black or Asian and all those things, can't you? Why can't we celebrate England? Why can't we have the flag of St. George? Forget about the Union flag, which, of course, was all that trouble about that girl wearing. But they don't want us to be proud to be English. And when Chloe said last night, I'm proud to be English, I'm proud of the girls, and all the rest of it, she said, it was just fantastic. I wonder if our male football team would say that. I think they just earn so much money, they're just removed from it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm going off the subject a bit. But if you said to Starmer, are you proud to be English? He'd probably come out with something like, well, I'm a European. Well, you can off to Europe then. I've had enough of him. I don't know about you. I've had enough of him. Carl Birkin says it's working fine, John. Thank you. Yeah, I know Facebook. I don't know why I've gone blue. If you look at the captions today, everything's blue. I think the computer's on a go slow. Jackie Ward says, I hope you're right, John. Starmer looked like an idiot today with Trump, especially the question about farmers. Yes, because Trump is authentic. He's got a story. It's like going back to Southport, isn't it? With Southport, if he had gone over to that woman and put his arm around her, like I said yesterday or the day before, metaphorically and literally, and said, I'm really sorry for what's happened to your community. And if it's your friend has lost a daughter, I'd love to meet her and have a chat with her. That's what Blair would have done. That's what any normal bloke with a heart would have done. What did he do? And if you've got to watch that Channel 4 documentary, One Day in Southport, he gets in his Range Rover and speeds off. He doesn't care about you or me. Oh, and then the other thing I haven't said to you, the Online Act came in today. And then again, I think it was Bev Turner, she was on fire. She said to Mr. Trump, do you realise he's going to censor your Truth Network? You better not censor me, said Trump, right? Again, laughing and joking. Of course he knows about it. Of course he knows what's going on. And there, although there's some good aims behind that, you know, we don't want kids exposed to filth and terrible porn. We've all got to be a bit more mature. Kids aren't looking on Pornhub or YouPorn or whatever those sites are. They're looking on the dark web. And they know how to get past the security with one of those I don't understand how it works, to be honest, but the VPN thing where you can pretend you're in a different country. It's how people watch BBC when they're in Spain or South America, isn't it? It's like thinking people are going to pay their TV license or pay a subscription to the BBC or Sky when you can just get one of those sticks. I haven't done it, by the way, but I keep getting totally invaded on my Facebook and my Twitter feed with people saying, do you want a Fire Stick? I don't really know much about it. My best mate, Dave, he's got one. He told me. I think his name's Dave. Be careful. I don't want to implicate you, mate. But I'm tempted because you can buy them, can't you, for 40 or 50 quid. Whereas it cost you a fortune. I think my Sky bill's about 100 and something quid. Luckily, we share it amongst us. But anyway, back to my point. Trump, he knew about that online. He knows about freedom of speech being attacked. And of course, then the idiot Starmer tried to pretend it wasn't happening. If Starmer put as much effort into looking after our country and talking to us as he does to bullshit, we wouldn't be in the state we're in. Are you with me or against me? Chris Adams has reposted the stream. Chris, you're a superhero. Thank you very much indeed. Hi, John. I love what Trump said about Khan. Never a truer word spoken. And I loved watching Starmer squirm, says Bernadette Lake. Yeah, do you know what? Him falling down the steps of number 10 the other day and him squirming when Trump was having a go at him without actually having a go at him, if you understand what I mean about Khan, that's going to go down in political TV history. It was pure theatre. Guys, if you just come in from work and you haven't seen it, don't bother with BBC. They won't show the total humiliation. Put GB News on because it was their person who was asking the questions. It was I'm sure it wasn't, but it was almost as if it was set up that she knew what to ask and that Donald knew what to say. But it's also, but I don't think it was. But he is just the master of diplomacy. And all these people saying he's thick, he's a rapist, he's all the other things. He's running rings around the world. Look at the EU bowing and scraping to him. He's got what he wanted with NATO all across the board. And why shouldn't he? He's the president of the free world. He's the president of the strongest nation in the world. And remember what I say, when you have a strong president, you have a strong USA. And when you have a strong USA, you have a much safer world. So all this nonsense. Oh, and then that idiot, Starmer, he's gone there. Do you know what his main agenda point is? Can you condemn Israel? And Trump is going, no, I'm not going to. We can talk about it. But he's saying they've still got 20 hostages. Talking about Hamas, which they have. So he's right. I know there's horrid things going on. I'm not quite sure it's as bad as the propaganda that's coming out by Hamas, but by the same token, we can't get the free press in there, can we? Because of Israel's attitude. However, use of the word genocide is very strong. So my personal view is let Trump deal with it. What about you? You can talk about it. The difference, Jackie Ward, you're going to get to give out the pencils at the next meeting of the Church of Jon Gaunt. He says the difference between Trump and Starmer is that Trump loves his country. You're so right. And we could all learn from that, couldn't we, Jackie? And we could learn from the girls last night, and Chloe in particular, when she said, I'm proud of this team and I'm proud of being English. There's Pip's comment again, because he's donated €5. If you want to donate, just press, if you're watching on YouTube, please, just press the little $sign. You can donate anything you fancy. Some people chuck £1 in, other people have chucked 50 quid in, some people have chucked in 25 quid, 15 quid, 5 quid, whatever you can afford, please. If not, can you go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt, and you can either buy a coffee or a beer. It's just a metaphor. But Pip, thank you. I know you've donated before and you're out in Barcelona. We'll have to watch that later, John. Please don't say that about Starmer. You can call him Smarmer, but not the other thing. Two reasons why I don't want you to say that. One, I think that word's offensive unless you're homosexual yourself and you're using it. I'm sorry if you think I'm prissy. That's what I think. I think it's a horrid word. And secondly, you don't know if he is or not. So just be careful, because I don't want to go down. Shouldn't say that. I don't want to go down with you, if you understand what I mean. Just be careful. So anyway, he says Smarmer's a traitor and a clear and present danger. That's Gruner on YouTube. Well, I agree with the last part of what you said. Denise Deacon says, I'd love to hear what Trump says after he meets Starmer. Yeah. He doesn't drink, does he, Trump? Because if he was a drinker, he'd go out on the booze tonight with his mates, wouldn't he? He'll be in the golf club, did you see that shot I did there or whatever? And then he'll say, did you see that Starmer, that limey? I stitched him right up. Yeah. And I don't think Starmer realizes what's happening to him. So, Denise, I'm with you. I'd love to hear what Trump said after he met Starmer as well. William the Whacker, this visit totally showed Starmer up and he was made to look irrelevant. even his paid for to visit Victoria looked bored, tired, and embarrassed. I think you're right. She did look embarrassed. She looked fed up, didn't she? You're talking about his missus. Darren Cummings says, he's my friend. Laugh, laugh, laugh. And there's 4 laughters or throwing up emojis. I think you're right. He's taking the mickey. Starmer can't see it. But you see, there's another part of that. I don't want the president of the free world or the USA taking the mickey out of us. I don't. We're a great, proud nation, aren't we? He's dragged us into the gutter, below the gutter. And in particular, if you're English, people like him have made it almost a crime, especially if you're white and working class. And you watch, they're coming for us now with these new laws. But I think there'll come a point where the police might not play ball with them. But he's a dictator. That's what he's turning into, in my personal opinion. By the way, as we get towards the end of the show, we've got another 4 or 5 minutes to go. I would love to quickly talk about England, or if you want to talk about the women's football, whether you're being negative or positive. Look, we all know the standard's not as high as men's, but we should also know mainly that's down to physical prowess, but also down to sexism. The FA banned women from playing football. Have you not seen, what's it called? Bend It Like Beckham or whatever it's called? That's a good movie. And I was one of these people. Earlier this week, I was criticising it. Then I watched the semi-final, and I just loved the attitude of the English women. And last night, I loved it even more. They didn't stop. They were down. They weren't the best team, were they, for the majority of the game? But in the second half, they came back hard. And then with the penalties. And it was just a fairy tale when she scored with that ridiculous run-up that she does and put it in the back of the net. And I see today the Spanish are moaning that she was taking the mickey out of their goalkeeper. She was celebrating. Come on, how many competitions have you won, Spain? Behave yourselves. Be a good loser, if you could be, please. Be like Starmer. No, sorry. Don't be like Starmer. Anybody else want to talk about Starmer and Trump, the meeting? It was hardly Nixon going to China, was it? It was just dreadful. It'll be David Nixon, remember him, the magician. Trump for PM. Get rid of this shower of shit, says Michael Wilmot. Michael, you're naughty, but I kind of know where you're coming from. I kind of know where you're coming from. I can't believe this. I'm just looking at the screen here on the Jon Gaunt TV YouTube channel. 52 likes tonight. I'll have to have a technical problem again. Just before I started, I was all over the place. Didn't know what I was doing. Luckily, I had a few notes of what I wanted to say. But I found it amazing. 215 people watching live on YouTube alone. Thank you for that. If you're still watching, still want to comment, fine. I'll take a few soon. Comments now about England, about the women, and did it change your attitude? It's changed mine. Also, I take some views if you want them on Trump and Starmer. I say he humiliated us. It was lovely to see him be humiliated, but he's humiliated our great nation. Of course, we're not equal to the States. Of course, we're not. But we've got a fantastic advantage because, you know, he genuinely does love Britain and Scotland in particular. Right? It's one of his quirks. We should be using that to our advantage. But we've got this, I can only call him a defeatist surrender monkey, if you know what I mean. Everything about him I despise. And then he wants to take our boys into foreign wars. He wants them to go to the Ukraine probably and spill their blood. But I don't think they'll do it. I really don't think they will. Who would join up at the moment? And I was saying to Howard today, Howard Cox, you must listen to that podcast. Either listen to it when you're walking the dog as a podcast or watch it on the telly or on your computer or on your Mobi. He just lays into everybody. He lays into Nigel Farage. He has some very strong words about and for in favour of, what's his name? Rupert Lowe and the other guy. What's his name? Forgotten. Ben. So he talks about that. He talks about politics in general. He talks about, this man is responsible for keeping the price of fuel down. It's the most successful public campaign ever. 15 years he's been doing it and there hasn't been a raise in fuel duty. We were laughing because I met him, I think, when I was on BBC Luton years ago. He was very kind to me today when he found out I'd been poorly. Very, very kind. Hasn't sent me a donation yet, but he was very kind. So thank you. It's a cracking interview. And you just wind him up and off he goes. And the downloads are going crazy for it. I put it up without any fanfare, really, at 2:00 this afternoon. People found it and people have really enjoyed it. Because he's speaking, again, he's authentic. He's saying his truth. He's talking about people like Tommy. I don't fully agree with him about Tommy Robinson. But it is peculiar that Farage isn't bringing him in. Richard Tice said to them, we don't want Tommy Robinson and that lot. And Howard said that's when he had to leave Reform because he said, I am part of that lot. So it's pure honesty and he's fabulous. And then at the end, when he basically said, I couldn't believe it when he said, let them starve effectively. I don't agree with him, by the way. I do agree with putting them in proper internment camps. And I do agree with then videoing that and making sure people understand you come here, you're no longer getting 4-star hotels and squeezy soap. And I'm telling you, it's getting hot. I am absolutely scared that this is going to kick off. And no one wants that. I definitely don't want it. Don't get violent, guys, whatever, right? But I understand the frustration. I understand the frustration. When I saw these videos on the internet today of these, well, they were foreigners throwing bricks. I don't think we can have that. Steve says, evening, John. This country needs someone who has the balls of Trump, but we have no one. And even though there is Farage, he's not Trump, and nor will he ever be. No, I don't think. I think Trump has got true courage. I know Nigel. I don't think he has. He wants. That was interesting what Howard said about Nigel. Some very interesting things he says about Farage. I won't give it away now. You should go and have a listen or watch that one as well. Jackie Ward. Oh, Jackie, lovely. I felt pride when the girls won last night. I love the attitude of them all. I was going to ask you a question about that. Can we call them girls or is that sexist? I didn't know whether to say the ladies or the women. What do you call them? They call themselves girls, don't they? I don't know. Let me know so I don't drop myself on it. He knows Mr. Trump runs or rings around him, says Christine Carty on YouTube. Thank you. Steve says, Tommy Robinson is only out to cause trouble. He's taken a long time to do it, though, isn't he? And he's gone to prison for his beliefs. So I'm not sure, Steve, it's that simple. I'm not supporting him. I know him. I've met him loads of times. I was one of the first people to interview him when he was in Luton, because that's where I was working at the time. Just like I knew, what's his name? Captain Hook, through the same connections. But I don't think he's just trying to cause trouble. And that's what Howard says in this podcast. He says, well, I don't think he is just a troublemaker. Grenville Jenkins reposted the stream. Thank you. I must remember to keep asking people to do that. Starmer just looked awful. What an absolute donkey, says Lord Laird Kilbacken. Well, that's a good way to describe him. A donkey. Certainly an ass. There's no two ways about it. I just don't know where this is going to end up. I really don't. 58 likes. Thank you very, very much indeed. If you'd like to donate just a few quid, keep me going, really helps out, go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt. It's open 24 hours a day, and that's anything up from $5. But if you want to donate on the YouTube, you just press the little $sign down there. But most importantly, with YouTube, press the like button, because then the algorithm thinks, oh, this guy's quite good. It's like when you send me comments in or send me emails after the show. It all helps. And I do read them all, and I get some of my ideas from it. Tommy will go down in history for bringing a grooming gang to the forefront. And 13th of September, there's a march in central London. Yes, thank you, Michael. Well, I think he has done most of the work on bringing that to attention. Obviously, that Charlie Peters guy on GB News, he's done a lot as well just recently. But I think we've got to say Tommy was the one who started it all, didn't he? Dunstan Cook, Evening Gaunty, what do you think of the latest advert? Oh, yes. For Sharia law administrator. We only have one law, don't we, Gaunty? And it isn't Sharia law. No, Dunstan. You know this story about Sharia law? I've done it loads of times. Done it in Luton. Then I did it many times on BBC London. And the truth is, there are other religions, like the Jews. They have their courts as well. I don't think anyone, any religion should come above the law, right? That's why I don't agree with a blasphemy law either. I don't agree with the bishops being in the Houses of Parliament, House of Lords either. I do believe in a kind of collective worship every day, a kind of religious assembly, and that would have to be Christian-based. However, there is no place for Sharia law in our country, regardless of whether you live in a totally Muslim community. Because you know what else? There shouldn't be just totally Muslim communities in the United Kingdom. I thought they kept telling us identity is our strength. What if it's our strength? Let's all live together and rub up against each other and meet each other. Let's not lead separate lives. Do I sound a bit like Keir Starmer there? It's true, though, isn't it? And as I say, the Jewish people have their own courts as well for settlements over divorce, etc. No, I'm against it. And I couldn't believe that advert because that's for the DWP, isn't it? I think I told you when I was on the dole, I tried to get a job with the dole, with the DWP, and they took ages assessing me. You do all these psychosomatic tests and stuff, and I'm good at that. And you do a phone interview with a bot, etc., etc. And then I said, am I going to get this job? Oh, we'll be in touch soon. You know what they were doing? I know what they were doing. They were checking out my social media. They were checking me out. I didn't get the job because they don't like my fucking politics. That's outrageous. Because I'm not part of a prescribed organisation, am I? I've just got some views which are of the right. Not all of them. I've got quite a lot which are of the left. I just think it's a disgrace. But no, that should not be allowed, especially not in a government department. It's outrageous. It's our money paying for that. Do you think you could get him okay? Do you think you could get him okay your lives and interview him? Are you talking about Tommy Robinson? I could ask him. I've got his phone number. If he's still got the same number, I'll try. I tell you what I want to get now. I asked Howard about. I want to get that Ben. What was his name? John, you'll have to remember him anyway. And Rupert Lowe. I'm going to get I'll get all sorts of people. I want to talk to loads of different people and get their views. So Steve wants to know, can I get Tommy on? I'll try, but I'm not going to bust a gut. Well, last time I did him, it was he was doing a TV documentary for Labour. So when I had my radio station out in Brentford. Maggie Young, I went to a family children's party yesterday. Good. All the children's parents said they won't let their children out in the garden to play. They're frightened. Oh, Maggie, that breaks my heart, isn't it? We don't want that, do we? We don't want that. But I can understand why. Lisa said the same thing to me. She didn't want to walk through Warwick on her own in the daylight. That doesn't mean she thinks every one of them's going to try and rape her or molest her or nick her phone or whatever. But look, we've got enough low-life scum in our country without importing it via Dover. What's it now up to? 24,000. Nobody in the Labour government has any balls. This country is run by clowns. We need reform UK in number 10 now before we don't have a country anymore. Thank you for your comments, Christine Carty. Michael Wilmot, it's all a load of cobblers, them wanting to mix, more like groom, rape and murder. Well, that's not true, Michael. I know quite a few Muslim people who are excellent. And I like meeting them, and I like eating their food, and I like conversing with them. Not every Muslim is a terrorist, right? Let's not go down that line, please. And also, before 7/7 and 9/11, we just all used to rub up against each other, didn't we? I mean, I know there was racism, but we didn't. It wasn't like it is now. You've seen the sun shining through on me. So shining on the righteous. I thought I was stopping a minute ago. Oh, Graham. I did answer you earlier, Graham. Don't know if you saw it. Evening, John, as global leaders go, when you look at Stammer, he stood beside the likes of Donald Trump, you begin to realise just how much of a spineless little no-mark Starmer is. Trump is a colossus in stature. It's embarrassing. Graham, that's a really good post. That is a really good post, because that's the truth. One's a man, one's a wimp. That's all I can say. Dunstan Cook, I agree, Gaunty. The difference with the other religions is they all integrate and know that canon law is the law of the land. Well, yes and no. There have been other instances. I can think of some Sikhs where they thought differently, and Hindus. So that's not strictly true. And it's also not true that not all Muslims. It's a bit like saying all Roman Catholics only did what the Pope said. It's not true, is it? They didn't all play Vatican roulette. Some of them went and got condoms. Otherwise, we'd be overrun by the little buggers. Come on, let's be grown up about it. I've got Muslim mates who drink. I've got Sikh mates who drink. I've got other friends who don't, who are in other religions, who aren't religious. We can all be hypocrites at times. Okay? Where shall I go next? Maggie Young. Tommy Robinson has tried to save our children. I think that's very true, Maggie. He's a bit rough, bit of a rough arse, isn't he? I'd say that to his face. And but he has. And he's had terrible press. They hate him. The mainstream media absolutely hate him. Dormston's back on saying it's Ben Habib and Rupert Lowe. That'd be a brilliant chat. Yeah, I'm not going to get them both on at the same time because according to Howard, there's still fireworks there, but they're getting closer again. But no, I will get them on individually. But not straight away, maybe in a week or two, because I don't want every one of these set-piece interviews to be politics. Did I say that to you before? They're just Jon Gaunt meets interesting people. I've got a couple of sporting people, which I think you'll be impressed about. Steve says, John, can we send our love to James Whale, as he hasn't got long left? That's absolutely true. It was heartbreaking. I listened to his last interview with Nigel, and he did like a podcast with his missus. And I saw the video of it. Yeah, it's very sad. Very, very, very sad. Mind you, he has had some life. So I'll give him that. And he's succeeded. But he'll be sorely missed by a lot of his listeners. Oh, look, listen, Michael Wilmot. No far right blow up buses, tubes, or kill children at a concert or dance class. What about the Norwegian white guy who was an extreme Christian? Can't remember his name now. It's not true, Michael. It's not true. In fact, that's the kind of comment that you make, and it makes you look like you're an idiot. So don't make it. Think these things through. I'm not going to fall out with you. I'm just telling you what I think. You could think I'm an idiot, which is fine. Right, that's me done. Brilliant show. Really enjoyed it. Thank you very, very much indeed. I'm going to go and have a rub down now with the Financial Times, or probably just watch EastEnders. I'll be back tomorrow at 6:30. I might do another one, a surprise one tomorrow, because we're going to see what happens with Starmer and Trump tonight. Oh, sorry, I got distracted there. Michael Wilmot says, we're talking about England. Yeah, okay then. What about the Soho bomber who thought he was white? He thought it was a good idea to kill a load of gay people. Or do they not count because they're gay? What about Dennis Nielsen, who ate them? What about the Black Panther? Yeah. What about the Yorkshire Ripper? You see where I'm coming from, Michael? So don't talk shit. If you want to talk shit, phone up Mike Graham. Sorry, that's unfair. Maggie Young's has given me the claps as usual. Jackie Ward's given me the hearts. That's lovely as well. Gaunty, have you ever conversed? Oh God, yeah, with Daniel Hannan? I think he's also a great speaker. He's the most boring man in the world, Dunstan. He knows a lot about the EU, but he's got the charisma of a brown paper bag, a recycled one. Yeah, I've met him loads of times. Don't particularly like him. What's he got to say? He took a lordship, didn't he? I tell you who I'd like to interview, Dominic Cummings. That's who I'd really like to get on for an in-depth one. So maybe I should get trying him. Anyway, thanks for your suggestions. when I need tips on... No, I'm not going to say that. My hair, look at the state of it. Right, I'm going to go. I'll speak to you tomorrow. If you do want to donate something, you know what to do. Do that for me. Press the like button. Tell all your friends that I'm back and that the show's really getting momentum now. And we're getting somewhere with it. And I shall speak to you, my friends, tomorrow at 6:30. But if you've not yet watched when Starmer met Donald, right, look at it tonight, either on YouTube, the video's there, or look at it on, you know what I mean, GB News. No point in doing it on BBC or Sly, because they'll sensitize it. They'll cut off before he makes himself look the complete prick that he is. Sorry, Prime Minister. Stuck here. I'll be back then tomorrow at 6:30. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Oh, don't forget to look at Howard Cox's broadcast that I've got on there as well. I'll be back tomorrow at 6:30. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey. Don't forget to tell them you love them. 68 likes. It's the best ever. Thank you.